The absolute worst thing you can do when you are caught in quicksand is thrash.
Right. Yeah, it just pulls you under faster.
Exactly. I mean, your total human reflex when you realize you are sinking is to, like, fight violently to pull yourself out.
Which is the worst instinct you could have.
It really is. But the physics of quicksand are just brutal. Your own desperate attempts to survive are the exact mechanism pulling you under.
It's a terrifying concept.
So terrifying. Anyway, welcome to this custom-tailored deep dive built just for you. Today, we are looking at a mountain of fascinating material.
Oh, we really are. It is a huge stack today.
Yeah, we've got cast interviews from Us Weekly, backstage, some really intense entertainment reviews, and honestly, some incredibly dark fan theories.
The fan theories are wild this time.
They really are. And all of this is zeroing in on the explosive penultimate episode of Euphoria Season 3, Rain or Shine.
Which was just, chaotic. So our mission today for you is to untangle this massive web of million-dollar debts, brutal betrayals, and, shocking deaths leading right into the season finale.
A lot of ground to cover.
Definitely. We're looking specifically at how Cassie, Maddy, and Rue are navigating their descent into the Los Angeles criminal underworld.
And it is a steep descent.
Right. And if you look closely at all the analysis and interviews we've compiled, well, that quicksand metaphor you used is the defining reality of this universe.
Totally.
Every single attempt these characters make to save themselves is like actively digging their grave deeper.
Okay, let's unpack this because we actually need to start with a literal grave.
Literally, yes.
The catalyst for everything unraveling in this episode is Nate Jacobs being buried alive in a shallow grave at the Sunset Settlers lot.
Which was so hard to watch.
So stressful. He owes $1 million to a loan shark named Naz. And Naz leaves him with nothing but a single air vent, giving his wife, Cassie, exactly 72 hours to pay up.
It is just a masterclass in claustrophobic tension.
I couldn't even breathe during that scene.
Right, because Naz isn't playing games. The threat is dehydration, which is agonizingly slow.
And the clock is ticking.
Exactly. The show builds this incredible momentum as they scramble to orchestrate a rescue mission, and they finally secure the drop site.
They get the dirt off the coffin.
Yes. They rush to dig Nate out, pry open the lid, and
Hard pull.
the narrative just completely pulls the rug out from under everyone. Nate is already dead.
And it wasn't the dehydration.
No. His body is already decaying. A poisonous rattlesnake had managed to slither through that tiny air vent.
They beat the ticking clock, but they couldn't beat the sheer random cruelty of their environment.
Exactly. It's just random cruelty.
Which completely subverts the standard Hollywood suspense trope, But what I find even more surreal are the behind-the-scenes details.
Oh, from Jacob Elordi.
Yes, you watch that scene and it is pure suffocating nightmare fuel. But Elordi, he gave an interview to Us Weekly where he described being locked inside that coffin as peaceful.
Peaceful. Are you kidding?
No, seriously. They drilled the lid shut, immobilized his arms, left him in total darkness, and he actually found it relaxing.
Wow. The contrast between the actor's experience and the character's horrific demise is just startling.
It really is.
Especially when you factor in the practical effects.
Yeah.
Because, Sam Levinson insisted on using real snakes on set to capture that visceral panic.
So wait, they had live snakes in there with him?
Yeah, they had a live rattlesnake and a boa constrictor right there, rattling away while Elordi is locked in the box.
That is insane. But okay, for the actual close-up shots of the snake inside the coffin, they ended up using the boa constrictor, and they attached a fake rattler to its tail.
Oh, a fake rattler.
Yeah, Elordi called it a super cute sleepy snake.
A sleepy snake, wow.
He was laughing in the interview about how he literally had to nudge this giant, cuddly reptile just to get it to look remotely menacing for the camera.
That is hilarious.
The juxtaposition of Nate's terrifying exit being performed alongside a sleepy boa constrictor is incredible.
Yeah.
But, Nate's death is the catalyst, right?
Right, the domino effect.
It leaves Cassie as a destitute widow, and her subsequent downward spiral is where things get truly disturbing.
Oh, disturbing is an understatement. Cassie is stripped of everything. She loses a major acting opportunity with the production called LA Nights.
Because of her past, right?
Exactly. Her scandalous past makes her completely uninsurable. So she tries to pivot back to her old OnlyFans account, but the digital landscape has just moved on.
The algorithm left her behind.
Yep. She fails to gain any traction. She is entirely devoid of conventional currency, financial, or social.
So she hacks the system, and she hits absolute rock bottom with Dylan Reed.
This scene was so dark.
Unbelievably dark. She gets him incredibly drunk, sleeps with him, steals his phone, and posts a photo to his Instagram to artificially manufacture desirability.
But the detail in that photo.
The detail that completely broke the internet. Inside Dylan's glass of ice water, sitting right there in the frame of the photo, is one of Nate's frozen fingers.
It is grotesque.
A severed finger in a cocktail.
Right. But if you analyze the mechanism behind that choice, it is actually a brilliant commentary on digital culture.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, Cassie realizes she can no longer monetize admiration or beauty, so she pivots to the algorithmic outrage loop.
Outrage engagement.
Exactly.
Okay.
In a digital ecosystem, negative attention, horror, and morbid shock value trigger the exact same engagement metrics and dopamine hits as being loved.
So infamy is just another currency.
Precisely. It all pays the same.
I look at her behavior here, and it reminds me of, like, an autoimmune disease.
Oh, that's an interesting way to put it.
Right. You have a body that detects a severe threat. In this case, total social and financial oblivion. And its defense mechanism goes into such hyperactive overdrive that it starts destroying its own healthy organs just to survive.
Yeah, she is destroying herself.
But I do have to push back on the general consensus here. Like, does putting a severed finger in a cocktail and posting it online prove that Cassie has completely lost her grip on reality? Or is she actually, in a deeply twisted way, perfectly adapting to the cruel theatrical rules of this specific universe?
That is the essential question. And honestly, I lean heavily toward the latter.
Really? You think she's adapting?
I do. Cassie isn't delusional. She is hyper-lucid. She recognizes that she lives in an ecosystem that only rewards extremity. She is playing the only card she has left.
Wow. Okay, yeah.
But that hyper-lucidity also makes her realize that shock value doesn't pay $1 million ransom.
Right. The debt is still there.
Her inability to monetize her own tragedy drives her right to the doorstep of the one person who has mastered the art of packaging desperation for profit.
Maddy. Which brings us to the most uncomfortable dynamic of the season.
Very uncomfortable.
Maddy has reinvented herself in Los Angeles as a ruthless talent manager. We find out she recently helped an aspiring influencer named Caitlin hit 1 million followers by explicitly convincing her to commodify her own nudity.
Maddy understands exactly how to extract value from desperate people.
She really does.
And because Maddy operates in that transactional space, she knows exactly who holds the real leverage in LA.
She skips the small timers.
Yeah, she bypasses the mid-level criminals and goes straight to the apex predator, Alamo Brown.
The king.
Right, the veteran kingpin who runs the Silver Slipper strip club. Maddy approaches him to get the $1 million to save Nate.
Leading to the Faustian tub deal, which was
Yeah.
just, wow. Alamo agrees to finance the rescue, but the conditions are just dripping with psychological warfare.
Oh, degrading.
He makes Maddy put on a specific one-piece bathing suit and get into a hot tub with him, and he demands a foot massage.
It was so hard to watch.
The scene is thick with this skin-crawling tension, and Rosalia's character, Magic, gives Maddy this chilling piece of advice. She says, "Trade 1,000 bad days for a good life."
Such a loaded line.
Every review of this episode agrees that the subtext is glaringly obvious. Maddy traded herself to Alamo to secure that cash.
What's fascinating here is the sheer mechanics of Alamo's trap.
Oh, the drop site.
Yes, think about the drop site. Maddy and Alamo arrive to pay off Nas. Alamo hands over a duffel bag. Nas unzips it, and it's entirely full of playing cards.
Not a single dollar.
Not one. Alamo immediately shoots Nas dead. The debt is erased with a bullet, not a bank transfer.
Which means Alamo never even had to spend $1 million.
Precisely. He eliminated a rival loan shark, which obviously benefits his own empire, and then he turns to Maddy to spring the actual trap.
This is where he gets her.
He tells her that because he intervened and provided this quote-unquote service, he now expects 20% of all her future earnings from her legitimate management business.
20%.
He tells her it's a steep price to pay for friendship. Alamo is basically laundering his extortion through Hollywood norms.
Because 20% is just a standard management fee.
Exactly. He doesn't just want drug money. He wants clean, institutionalized leverage over a rising Hollywood talent manager.
So Maddy sold her soul to a kingpin only to dig up a coffin and find Nate already dead.
She got played.
She traded everything and gained absolutely nothing. But this is where the fan theories we dug into take a massive dark leap.
Oh, the trafficking theory.
Yeah, why would Maddy risk her own safety and her new empire for Cassie, the girl who literally destroyed her high school life?
It doesn't make sense on the surface.
The viral theory is that Maddy isn't just a victim of Alamo's extortion. She is actively orchestrating Cassie's downfall to traffic her through the silver slipper.
And, the visual and narrative clues supporting this are incredibly strong.
Like the wardrobe choice.
Yes, look at the wardrobe. When Maddy meets Cassie poolside to discuss the loan, Maddy deliberately wears the fur coat that Nate bought her years ago.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It is an undeniable visual power play. It's a reminder of who actually owns the narrative. Then she systematically gets Cassie drunk, lowering her inhibitions and getting her to confess just how out of options she is.
And Rue's narration completely validates this.
Right.
The voiceover states plainly that beneath Maddy's benevolent, helpful facade, she still plans to, quote, go in for the kill.
So chilling.
Maddy sees Cassie as beautiful, completely directionless, and desperate enough to humiliate herself for survival.
Which is the exact psychological profile of the women Alamo exploits at his club.
Right. It paints a picture of a woman who has weaponized her past trauma. Maddy learned how to manipulate systems from the people who manipulated her.
Yeah, that cycle of abuse.
But I keep getting stuck on Maddy's overarching strategy here. Knowing that she is this strategic mastermind who sees red flags a mile away, is it possible she intentionally set up this completely impossible debt with Alamo?
Like she knew what he would do.
Yeah, like fully anticipating he would pull the playing card stunt. Specifically so Cassie would be financially cornered and forced to work it off at the Silver Slipper.
That theory assumes a level of control that I just don't think Maddy actually possesses.
Really? You don't buy it?
No, I think Maddy definitely suffered from hubris. She thought she was the player on the board, manipulating a local crime boss to execute her long-game revenge on Cassie.
But Alamo is way out of her league.
Exactly. Alamo was playing an entirely different game. He used Maddy's laser focus on Cassie to secure a 20% stake in her legitimate business.
So the revenge blinded her.
Right. Maddy might have successfully built a cage for Cassie, but in doing so, she locked herself inside it too.
While Maddy thinks she's running a complex chess game from the business end of Alamo's empire, Rue is actively kicking down the front door of the slaughterhouse.
The contrast is brilliant. Rue's storyline intersects with Alamo's in a much more visceral, physical way.
Because they have history.
They have an incredibly dark history. Rue previously proved her loyalty by cleaning up a fatal overdose at one of his clubs.
Right.
And in exchange, Alamo paid off her massive drug debt to Lori, his main cartel rival. They have a dynamic that borders on a twisted father-daughter relationship.
A father figure who previously played Russian roulette with her, firing a gun with an apple on her head.
Pure psychological torture.
It's insane, but Rue isn't reacting to the trauma with fear anymore. Everything shifted after episode 6 when she experienced that burning bush vision.
Yeah, the awakening. Rue survives a near-fatal scare and emerges completely convinced she has had a divine awakening.
She tells Ali God spoke to her.
She sits down with her sponsor, Ali, and quotes the vision word for word. She says, I heard your cries, I feel your pain, have faith, and I will take you from Egypt, and I will lead you to the promised land.
You really have to contrast Rue's sudden manic belief in magical thinking with Ali's grounded, painful reality.
Coleman Domingo is just incredible in that scene.
His performance as Ali is the emotional anchor of this episode. We learn about his brutal history, his time living in a flophouse, the violent fights, and the immense, exhausting labor of trying to keep addicts alive during COVID when all the support systems shut down.
It was so heavy.
Ali knows that survival is grueling, daily work. So when Rue pitches him this divine intervention, he warns her how lethally dangerous it is to confuse a hallucination with permission to be reckless.
Ali sees right through it. He understands that Rue is mistaking basic survival for a holy destiny.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Rue completely ignores him. She weaponizes this vision to justify an incredibly reckless heist.
She just dives right in.
I watch Rue in these scenes, and it's exactly like a gambler at a casino who hits one lucky number at the roulette table. Suddenly, they believe they have cracked the code of the universe.
Like they can't lose.
Exactly. They believe they're invincible, so they bet their entire life savings because they think destiny owes them a payout. So I have to ask you, is this divine protection actually real to Rue? Or is it just a massive, complex psychological defense mechanism?
It's a great question.
Like, is she just finding a holy excuse to throw herself into a cartel war because fundamentally she still wants to destroy herself?
I think you've hit on the tragic core of her character. If you dig into the psychology of that vision, it didn't grant her a wisdom, it granted her a feeling of being chosen.
Oh, chosen. Wow.
And for someone drowning in self-loathing, being chosen is the ultimate armor. It is a defense mechanism against her own guilt.
Because if God is directing her, it's not her fault.
Exactly. If God is directing her, then she is responsible for the fallout. And that false sense of invincibility leads directly to her catastrophic miscalculation.
She tries to play the apex predators against each other.
The worst idea.
She physically bruises her own palm and goes to Lori, Alamo's rival, manipulating her into thinking Alamo inflicted the injury.
Trying to earn trust.
Right. She wants to earn Lori's trust just long enough to exploit it. In the dead of night, Rue and her friend Faye sneak into Lori's compound to crack her safe.
Rue is expecting to find the ultimate solution to her problems, which is cash.
But the reality inside that safe is so much darker.
It's horrifying.
The safe swings open and there is no money. It is entirely filled with ID cards.
Just stacks of them.
And these aren't random IDs. They belong to the missing girls from Alamo's Silver Slipper Club.
It's a devastating realization. It completely obliterates Rue's illusion of control.
Those IDs aren't just plot tokens.
No, they are physical proof of systemic, horrific exploitation. It proves Lori knows exactly what Alamo is doing, and it exposes Rue to the true, monstrous scale of the people she thought she could outsmart.
And the episode cuts out on an agonizing note.
The cliffhanger.
Faye looks at the IDs, realizes Rue lied about the level of danger they were in, and enters full panic mode. She screams at the top of her lungs, instantly waking up Laura's entire heavily armed compound.
Rue's divine armor just shatters in real time.
So, as you look toward this massive season finale, let's take a look at the board, because the quicksand is now right up to everyone's neck.
Everyone is sinking.
Rue is trapped deep inside a cartel compound, her gamblers streak over, facing down real bullets. Cassie is completely stripped of her social armor, her career, and her husband. And she is seemingly being herded into a trafficking ring by her former best friend.
And Maddy, who believes she was the architect of Cassie's demise, is now legally and financially bound to a ruthless crime lord who owns a piece of her future.
It's incredibly ominous.
It is, especially considering what Alexa Demie said in her recent interviews.
Oh, what did she say?
When she was asked about Maddy's fate in the finale, she teased that it's fitting for Euphoria. She said, not a happy ending, but it's close.
Not a happy ending, but it's close. That is terrifying.
Very unsettling.
Especially when you pair it with that incredibly cryptic tweet from the official HBO account that sent fans into a total tailspin.
The photo of Maddy?
Yes, just a photo of Maddy with the caption, "The second coldest female Alamo ever knew."
The second coldest.
It heavily implies she might just be another body in his long history of destroying women.
It just reinforces the idea that no matter how smart these characters think they are, the house always wins.
The house always wins. Which leaves us with one final, deeply chilling detail from our sources to leave you with today.
Something a lot of people miss.
We need to go back to that hot tub scene between Maddy and Alamo. We talked about the extortion and the power dynamics.
Right.
But there is a massive thread in that conversation that almost slips by unnoticed. During that tense exchange, Maddy accidentally lets it slip to Alamo that Rue has been talking to the DEA.
Just think about the gravity of that.
It's a huge slip.
Alamo is a kingpin. He runs an illicit trafficking ring.
Yeah.
And he has just been informed that a girl who cleans his clubs and knows his operations is communicating with federal agents.
But the crucial detail here is his reaction. Or rather, his total lack of one.
He did blink.
When Maddy drops that nuclear piece of information, Alamo maintains absolute terrifying composure. So as you gear up for the finale, consider this. Why did Alamo stay so calm?
Is he holding on to it?
Is he planning to use Rue as a disposable pawn in an escalating war against Lori? Or did Maddy's careless whisper in the hot tub just seal her own best friend's death warrant?
That's a terrifying thought.
Because in the quicksand of this universe, every thrash has a consequence and every debt comes due. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.